Welcome to the Trojan Insider post-game show. Pete Gears alongside Scott Schrader here as we're in Tucson, Arizona. USC just picked up a big Pac-12 South win, 24-20 over the Arizona Wildcats here tonight. But Scott, it wasn't really the ending you wanted to see out of the Trojans. They were up 17-0 at the half, 24-0 in the third quarter. And then Arizona and Khalil Tate started to work their magic a little bit, came all the way back. Some injuries happened, penalties started building up. It wasn't the exact way the USC wanted to head in their bye week, but a win is a win.
You know, they started off and it looked like they were going to kind of have their way with Arizona. 17-0 at halftime. And, good Lord, it should have been 34-0 at halftime. So they were already showing signs that they were going to keep Arizona in this football game as much as they could. But how many penalties were there, and what was the yardage?
18 for 168, I want to say, somewhere in the high orders, but I know there was 18.
Week 5.
A ton of pass interference penalties. Biggie Marshall had a couple back-to-back, including one on an interception that was brought all the way back. He would have ran the ball out and put the game in the Trojans' hands, but instead Arizona came back, got another touchdown. We talked to Biggie after it, and he's trying to get away from his reputation, if there is one, of him being handsy and him putting hands all over the receivers. He wants to be a guy that just plays, man-to-man and plays clean. He wants to be a clean player.
Biggie has played spectacularly this season.
Big improvements.
He has played outstanding, and it's frustrating for him to play good football and get called for a penalty. And those are crucial plays. That was a huge play. That was a game-over play. And then it comes back and Arizona scores a touchdown, and that onside kick, they could have won this football game. So it's frustrating for a lot of these players. They don't want to focus on the penalties, and there's some penalties that are being called on them that are their own fault, personal foul penalties and so on. But some of those are also, not going to eliminate all of those because these guys are playing aggressively, but the referees are just way, way, way too far involved in these football games. And it's almost like we notice them more than we do the football now.
Yeah, so not a ton of positive for the refereeing, especially from a USC point of view. Let's talk about some of the positives on offense. The first half looked great. As you mentioned, it could have been 34-38 in the half. It really should have been. USC had 3 fumbles today. And turning over the ball and penalties is still something they need to work on. The good news, though, is that the rushing attack got involved. More specifically, Cedric Ware went for 18 carries and 173 yards, including that big touchdown run, after having 5 carries and 3 total yards in the last 2 weeks. Now, some people may be saying that his practice comments may have limited some of his touches. I don't know if I believe that completely, but the key was that he got involved. USC outgained Arizona on the ground 250 yards to 83.
Yeah.
And this Arizona team came in with a back, J.J. Taylor, who ran for 200 yards last week at Arizona State. We all know Khalil Tate can run. He had 1,200 yards in a 6-game stretch last year. But USC tonight completely outran him on the ground and outgained the offense 500.
Khalil Tate, I forget, Khalil Tate is not healthy. So, I asked the guys that were chasing Khalil Tate last year, if they noticed that he was not healthy and not what he was last year, and it was very noticeable to them. It's hard for him to move horizontally, and so they knew how to contain him. They knew they had to make him pass. They knew that he was going to be handing the ball off more, and on the RPOs, when he took the ball, he was chased down. He probably had as many tackles for losses when he ran the ball as he did gains. So, how many times did USC run the ball today, though? To me, that's the key stat. I didn't realize it, but you told me, was it 47 times?
Yeah, I think Mark told us, T-Dub here. Vavai, after being the featured guy last week, had 2 touchdowns. He had a touchdown tonight, but only had 3 or 4 carries on the night. Yeah. Stephen Carr got a little involved, especially in the short game. He had that huge run called back on another penalty, holding, and penalties for the shooting themselves in the foot all night long. But Ced Ware got involved. The actual official stat was 253 yards on the ground for USC, 98 on the ground for Arizona. And I also I want to add that JT Daniels played a solid game. Nothing flashy, no touchdowns thrown, no interceptions though. He did get fumbled a couple times, maybe held the ball a little too long, but I feel like he played a good game manager game, and he got 8 different receivers involved.
Right.
8 different guys throwing the ball.
I would say that he played fine. He was not the issue.
No, I'm saying he's the positive.
Right.
Yeah. Getting all his receivers involved is great, but talking to some of the guys, Michael Pittman especially at the end of the game, he said that USC kind of has a bad taste in their mouth. And I said, are you looking forward to the bye week? And he said, not really. I want to go out there tomorrow and play. I'd much rather, not be
He's
thinking
the
about the second
only
half.
one that's going to say that. Trust me.
Well, Tyler Vaughn. Tyler Vaughn.
We're not going to palm that off. Is that the team is going?
They don't
want
want
to
to
go play next week.
But I'm just the gist is that they want to get. They wish they ended this game on a hard note and not letting Arizona come within 4 points.
That is true.
Tyler Vaughn's kind of felt the same way. Those are kind of the veterans on the team that know there's more capable players and abilities of this team to put away teams like in Arizona.
Right.
Because in the first half, this place wasn't very full to start with compared to Texas, where the fans stayed throughout the game. And then by halftime, this place was half empty because everyone thought the game was over. Next thing you know, you look up and we're down to a 4-point game.
Yeah, it was pretty empty. And and so it looked to me. You talk about the Stephen Carr run that was called back. I mean, Michael Pittman didn't even hold on that play, so that's ridiculous. So the game plan on what they were trying to accomplish overall, I think the strategy, the scheme that they had, that was not an issue. It was not a clean game again, and that's the big issue, is that it's a recurring theme every week, is this football team is not playing discipline. And that's an issue. And at some point, the players do have to be accountable for that, but so do the coaches.
Yeah. So we'll head into the bye week with some improvements. We'll be back home against Colorado in a couple weeks. USC now 3-2. Have a chance to go to that Pac-12 title game in Santa Clara, so don't forget that, guys. Season is far from over, just beginning really. Scott, you were in Phoenix this weekend. Anything you saw at the high school Friday Night Lights game you were at?
I saw Noah Pola-Gates, and it was nice to see him play. He didn't do anything spectacular. He just played really solid. Man, we talked to him briefly afterwards. He was getting ready to go to the airport to head to Happy Valley to go see Penn State, Ohio State for the whiteout game. Which, do we know who won that game? Ohio State.
Ohio State got the win.
All right, so he was on his first official visit. He will be taking his final official visit. Chances are to USC. I'm feeling that it's kind of USC Alabama right now, and he says Alabama's ahead, so we'll see how that turns out. But USC was out in full force in Phoenix. They were at Higley High School to see Ty Robinson. They were at Saguaro High School to see Keely Ringo and Jacoby Covington, Damian Sellers. They saw Keaton Slovis, and so they were checking out a lot of their Arizona prospects. But we will be back after Colorado in a couple of weeks.
Yep, so tune in to Trojan Insider this week. We'll have more player interviews, analysis. We'll be at practice next couple of weeks. And then, as Scott said, back at the Coliseum on October 13th for another matchup in the Pac-12 South. Pete Gearson, Scott Trader for TrojanInsider.com. We'll say good night and fight on.